Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Inner Conquest, the world's greatest modern metaphysics channel. I'm your host, Jacob Edens, and today we are going to be discussing what it means to have authority. So when you think of this place, this reality, if you will, right? It's an interesting dynamic because you're an individual in a place where essentially you don't remember anything when you're born, right? So you have this experience of coming into a body, not remembering who you are, and then just going around like you're in the show Severance. Have you ever seen Severance, right? Where they sever their neural connection when they're in the office in this little thing. So they exist as a version of themselves in forgetfulness in this little realm. Watch the premise of Severance if you haven't seen that yet, because that's essentially what happens here. You're like you, but you don't have any memories, so you're just running off of instinct most of the time, okay? So if you're looking at a reality as a game, right? Okay, so let's think for a minute here that it's a video game. Let's use a term that makes everything significantly less serious. Let's take all the seriousness out of it, okay? So say you're in a game, right? And you go into the game, and the game is like GTA. But you go into the game, and you have your memory wiped, and you think that you're in GTA, and you think that GTA is the real world, right? You are a version of you that existed outside of GTA, okay? You're in GTA, you're a character, got hands and shit. You're like, oh, fuck, this is reality, because what is GTA? It's a mimicry of the real you. You're playing as an avatar. You're a dude in the game. Oh, I got my gun, right? This is my gun. Shut the game off. Get a real gun. No, I'm just kidding. So, what happens is you go into the game, get your memory wiped, okay? So, if you have an aspiration, okay? Generally, what is an aspiration? Something that you want to achieve, okay? So, if you go into a game, you want to achieve the basics. Now, the basic achievement in a game where you get your memory wiped would be to remember who you are before you came in the game, okay? That's rule number one of winning the game, right? So if you're playing a game and you die and you go back to the lobby, you take off the headset, and you look at the game and you're like, did I win or did I lose? It's like, well, one of the conditions of the game is you forget who you are. It's a big fucking victory if you remember who you are while you're in the game. So check that off the list. This is how you do that. Your mind and your brain is a receiver, okay? So when you hold something, like law of assumption, you hold a question or a thought proposition, through law of attraction, you magnetize things to you, okay? It's why you are a creator of your reality, right? You summon things through your condensed and focused awareness, okay? So if you're in a game, you start to get hints that you had your memory wiped before you came in the game, which means you exist outside of the game, which means that if you die, you're going to still be you, which takes away all the fear of death. So that's number 2 victory. Number 1 victory, you get to remember who you were before you came in the game. Number 2 victory is all the fear, which you can also replace fear with limitation, okay? Oh, I want to go in the water, but I'm scared it'll be too cold. Boom, you're limited. You can't go in the water, okay? So that fear is a constraint energy that is limiting in its essence, right? And it's meant to prey upon your perceived weaknesses. Oh, but when you were 10, you were never very good at this, so you can't do it now. It's a program designed to limit you. So you got to understand that it's not you, it's a fucking program, okay? So once you understand that you can remember who you are before you came in, fear is a program, stands for false evidence appearing real. It's not real. It's not reality. It's like if you're in GTA and your car gets covered in mud, right? You're like, fuck, my car's muddy. Oh no, my car's muddy. It's always going to be this way. No, it's a game, right? Cheat code, car's not muddy anymore, okay? You want to remember who you are. You want to disengage all the fear programming. That's number 2. Because fear programming, it literally embeds itself in your body, okay? Now, one thing you want to understand about yourself, right? Remember, you were the person outside of the game who chose to come into the game, forget who they were, and you're playing an avatar like you're playing a character in GTA, okay? The reason you know that is because when somebody dies, they leave their avatar here, and then they go out. Where do they go? Well, was the avatar them, or were they in the avatar? Because when the avatar doesn't have a person in it, it doesn't do anything. So there's obviously somebody in there manipulating the game player, okay? That's you. So when you look at identity, you want to understand identity as yourself in the gameplay. You don't want to identify as the game character because the game character is constrained by all the game rules. The character in GTA is never going to get out of GTA, okay? The character in GTA is built to be in GTA, okay? They're meant to like rob banks and shit, right? But they can't cook a meal, right? Maybe you can in the new one, probably. They probably added that as well. So once you understand that you can remember who you were before you came in the game, you remember that you're in an avatar type body type situation in a reality that is created, then you can start to accurately build a foundation of truth of how you operate within the game itself, okay? Because once you have that truth foundation, now you start to oscillate at a frequency that is accurate. Because what is another word for truth? It's just accurate, right? Oh, I need to dig a well. Okay, well, this well, you need to dig 6 inches and you'll get to the water. There's no water. It didn't work. Oh my God, there's no water. No, you need to dig 20 feet to get to the water. But you didn't know that because your information was inaccurate. So replace truth with some grandstanding thing is just accurate information. You just want accurate information. So once you discern that this place is a game, that you come into the game, you have your memory wiped, that's accurate information. Also, your brain is a receiver. What you hold, who am I? What did I want to do when I came here? Da-da-da-da-da. That framing, right? Think of it as a sign, a greater than sign. So your point of focus is your question. When you hold that, pulling in everything. Why am I so good looking? Pulling in evidence. Why is my life so bad? Pulling in evidence, right? That's what it means to be attractive in nature, what it means to be magnetic in nature, okay? So understanding these core concepts, now you have a lot of room to play around with, okay? Because anytime you're stuck, it's because you're identifying as the person in the game, okay? The person in the game is limited. The person in the game can only do this. If the person in the game gets stabbed, the person in the game dies, right? So once you place accurately your identity as the soul in the player, that soul cannot be hurt, okay? It's like if you're going to a costume party and you've completely identified with your character, right? You completely become Fred from Scooby-Doo. And somebody's like, you have a shitty ascot. And you're like, but I'm Fred. Fred always has great ascots, right? You take it personally because you're identified with the avatar. But if you are the person in there, you're like, I don't even fucking wear ascots. My character has an ascot. I don't care. Nerd, get out of here, right? So having that delineation gives you the separation to where you're not so engrossed by the experience. Think about this. Think about if you got super drunk, okay? And then somebody slapped a VR thing to your head that you couldn't tell was there, and then you woke up and you were just seeing the VR, thinking that it was real, right? What's the number one thing to do if you want to beat that game? Realize that you have a fucking VR headset on. Because once you do that, nothing you do within the game, if you don't understand that you have a VR headset on, is going to get the fucking headset off, okay? So understand these base concepts from layman's terms. You don't need any type of crazy words to describe this shit. You're in a fucking game, got your memory wiped, it's okay. But once you understand that you exist outside of the game, it gives you authority in the game. Because what? You gonna fucking kill my character? I don't give a fuck. I'll make another character, right? So once you do that, you can start to decompose all of the fear and limitation that is constraining you. And once you release that type of limitation and constraint, now you have freedom of movement and operation. Because whatever you put your mind on is going to magnetize and be created. Everything that is here is created through thought, right? You are a focus point of God's source energy, which creates things. I think of, a chair long enough and how to build a chair, I'm going to start fucking woodworking, right? It's just the propulsion of that magnetism. So understanding that base mechanic and then understanding the truth foundation that you exist in the game, you got your little avatar guy, I like to sing and dance. Now you can start to design as someone who's playing a game, not as someone who's a human who's on a fucking spinning rock and we're all gonna die. It's too much, not a fun game, okay? So understanding these core components gives you the ability to think clearly and accurately from positions of power, from positions of truth or accuracy. And once you do that, you can actually win the game because you can actually take the VR headset off, right? It doesn't mean that you want to take the VR. If you like the VR game, keep playing the VR game as long as you want. But just understand that it's a VR headset. Because if you gaslight yourself into thinking that the game is real, your will and your creative faculty will make it so for you, and it will trap you because you're in a templated system that has parameters, right? So it's like if you're playing a survival game, right? And it's like you got to get all the wood to build your house, you got to get all the food to do this, you got to do this and this, right? If you lose the survival game, your character dies, goes back to the lobby. But when you're playing an Xbox game, you understand that you're not your fucking character. You understand that you got a controller in your hand. And you're like, fuck, my dude died. Time to start a new dude. You're fine. You're totally good. There's nothing that can hurt you at all. It can't. Now, can you get emotionally wrapped up in your character because you are engrossed in that experience? 100%. Can you give it permission to manipulate your emotions? No, I've been working on this guy for years and now he's gone. See what I'm saying? But that's all you. And it's the real truth is like you can just start a new game. And if you really wanted to, you could start a new game and mod it the way that you wanted it to, right? So once you understand that type of gameplay framework about life and reality as a constructed reality, you start to think as if you are the operant power, which is how you should always think about your life. So I know you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys want to work with me, check out the link tree for coaching and badass protocols. All the information's on the protocols. So read that shit if you want to do it. More important than any of that, go conquer. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.